At the time of Rosa Luxemburg's birth, on March 5, 1871, in Zamość, Poland, her country was partially under Russian control, after a series of three partitions. Russia annexed the country in the first partition, and Poland suffered heavy losses, including losing over one-half of their population and nearly one-third of its land. In the third partition in 1795, Poland was invaded by Prussia and Russian forces. The state was divided between them as well as Austria. From a young age, Rosa Luxemburg had already made it her goal to somehow reverse all of this. By the time Luxemburg was attending high school in Warsaw, she had begun going to illegal meetings led by Polish writers. She joined the left-wing Polish political groups such as the Proletariat Party. These meetings had been deemed illegal and broke the strict rules of Russification, which was a policy designed to promote more nationalistic views and feelings. The proletariat was disbanded in 1887 after a general strike was organized, which required all participants to discontinue any sort of economic activity, including working, buying, etc. The ordeal resulted in 4 of the proletariat's leaders being put to death. As Luxemburg was pursued by the Tsarist police of Russia due to her illegal activities, she was forced to flee to Switzerland's city of Zurich in 1889. After studying law and political economy, she earned her doctorate in 1898 and formed a partnership with her peer Leo Yorgisches. They would work together and amongst others to found the social democracy of the Kingdom of Poland and Lithuania. Luxemburg and the social democracy were heavily against nationalistic values as well as capitalism, and they believed that a revolution that instituted the ideologies of socialism was necessary. These revolutions would have to take place in Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Russia, although Luxemburg believed that these revolutions would most likely take place in Germany. Many people in Russian-occupied Poland had grown extremely discontented with their working conditions, and many had lost their jobs. As the Russian Revolution of 1905 was launched, Rosa Luxemburg was living in Germany. Multiple strikes in several cities officially began the revolution. Luxemburg decided that it was a necessity to join the revolution in Warsaw, and she traveled there as the events were still ongoing. While there, she created hundreds of works, including speeches, papers, and articles regarding the ongoing revolution. She also began to develop her ideas and theories about the mass or general strike, and her social democracy also advocated for a general strike. This resulted in millions of Polish people participating in over 7,000 strikes in about a year's time. Polish students also joined these strikes and protests, demanding improved working conditions and a better economy. This was very important to Luxemburg as she believed that the mass strike was the most vital step in the successful revolution. She was arrested due to her participation in revolutionary activities, but continued her writing until she was released on bail and fled in 1906. Later in 1906, she published the essay "The Mass Strike, the Political Party, and the Trade Unions." This work further argued for and promoted a mass strike and speaks about the 1905 Russian Revolution and how German socialists can use it as a vessel of knowledge and learning in the future. After the revolution had ended, Luxemburg became a teacher at the Social Democratic School in Berlin. She was associated with the Social Democratic Republic of Germany, or SPD, while there. Despite having very similar end goals, Luxemburg disagreed with the SPD on some fronts. For one, she disagreed with the German government's decisions regarding the Great War, while the SPD supported the German government. She had previously been against any war and criticized Germany for perceived militarism. Due to their disagreements, Luxemburg formed the Spartacus League, which was socialist and strongly dedicated to ending the Great War by means of revolution. Luxemburg also disagreed with Vladimir Lenin, who would go on to create the Soviet state. Luxemburg and Lenin did not share the same views on Marxism. Luxemburg disagreed with Lenin in regards to his views on self-determination, the idea that people should have the right to decide what government is instituted in their country. She believed that this idea of self-determination would prove to be detrimental to the revolution, as it would be a distraction to a potential socialist revolution. Luxemburg was also a firm believer in women's rights. She criticized middle-class women who acted like lionesses in the struggle against male prerogatives, and demanded that women were granted suffrage. She did not only speak out regarding women's rights in Europe, however. She openly acknowledged women in other countries, such as women in the German-ruled Africa, who would become martyrs for the eventual progress of the revolution. After organizing an anti-war rally on May 1st, 1916, that at least 10,000 people attended, Luxemburg was arrested again. Once again, she spent her time in prison creating works, this time criticizing the SPD for its positions on the ongoing war. Luxemburg was not freed from prison until 1918, 3 days before the armistice of 11 November 1918, which effectively ended the Great War. Karl Liebknecht, who had been one of the original founders of the Spartacus League along with Luxemburg, helped to reinstate it. Liebknecht and Luxemburg then proceeded to continue their partnership in creating the Red Flag newspaper. Luxemburg came to another disagreement with Vladimir Lenin during the Red Terror, in which tens of thousands of people suspected to be political enemies of Russia were executed. She believed Lenin and the Bolsheviks, members of the Russian Social Democratic Workers' Party, were attempting to create a police state in Russia with the Red Terror. Luxemburg also attempted to gain political influence by forming the German Communist Party. However, this party never gained traction, potentially due to Luxemburg's resistance in allowing the Bolsheviks to have an impact inside of it. On January 6, 1919, the Spartacist revolution began in Germany. The Spartacists and their leaders feared that the German Chancellor Friedrich Ebert's upcoming changes and the upcoming election would prove negative for Germany, which was already at a very low point following its defeat in the Great War. This revolution was supported by the Soviets in Russia. Luxemburg stated her goal for the revolution, saying, "Today we can seriously set about destroying capitalism once and for all. Nay, more, not merely are we today in a position to perform this task, nor merely is its performance a duty towards the proletariat, but our solution offers the only means of saving human society from destruction." Luxemburg also called for another general strike. By January 11th, the revolters had succeeded in taking several critical points, such as the police headquarters and war ministry. But Ebert quickly took control as he ordered his army to crush the revolters. The army shot many of the revolters soon after. Unfortunately, the crushing of the rebellion was also the demise and the end of the lives of Rosa Luxemburg and Karl Liebknecht. On January 15th, they were found hiding in a house by German troops. Luxemburg was hit in the head with a rifle and then fatally shot in the back of the head, while Liebknecht would die by firing squad. Rosa Luxemburg's influence lives on in her many writings on her socialist values centered on the more traditional ideals of freedom. Her impact can also be seen in history despite the Spartacist uprising's massive failure.